Let's do it? All right.
Welcome to Unity. 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 Welcome. Join us in singing. Join us in prayer. Join us in touching hearts of people everywhere. Welcome to Unity. Welcome to Unity. Welcome to Unity.
To Unity, all those who are here in-house, all those who are there on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you are in Vancouver Island, welcome. You are so welcome here. No matter where you have been on your spiritual path, Unity offers a positive path to spiritual living, empowers us to be our very best. But we want to recognize, first of all, that we live, work, play, and create on the traditional and unceded territory of the many Indigenous peoples of Vancouver Island and all of Turtle Island. In Nanaimo, we are in the territory of the Nanaimo people, and we want to say Hi Squalawin, Haichka, for all of the teachings and the lessons and the care, the stewardship of the land through all those thousands of years, and the lessons that we're learning from our Indigenous friends. Haichka.
Haichka.
So let's have some more music.
Well, don't get too excited now.
Don't gets in the way of the camera.
Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together. Weave us together, together in love. We are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the others. We are entwined with one another in great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are different instruments playing our melodies, each one tuning to a different key. But we are all playing in harmony, in one great symphony. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. Moment ago we did not know our unity, only diversity. Now the Christ in me greets the Christ in me, in one great family. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are
And just to clarify things, they may not notice out here, but there's a little confusion. This half of the room can stand to sing, but this half has to sit down because there's a camera behind them. So we work it out. We work it out. Will you join me? Will you join me in an opening prayer? And let's just take a moment to quiet ourselves and remember that there is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. That presence, that power, that essence is all-knowing, all-powerful, everywhere, equally present, totally present in, as, and through each one of us. And therefore, each one of us shares in the power of the one, has available to us all the power of that one, and we are co-creators with it. We speak our word, our prayer, and we create our thoughts, our prayers. And for this empowering knowledge, for the wisdom, for the love, for the imagination, for all of the 12 powers with which each and every one of us is imbued and empowered, we are deeply, deeply grateful. And so we speak our words of power for love, for kindness, for peace, for generosity, bringing the children into our thoughts at this time as we know that they are studying generosity this morning. And for all our abilities to express these powers, these virtues, we are so very grateful. And so we let our words go out into the universe to increase, magnify, and make our world a better place. And so it is. Amen. Oops. Because we're asking this week, I love Googling things when I need to get something, so I just Googled quotes about questions, and I got some goodies. So I just want to read you a few. This is from Anne Rice. Very few beings really seek knowledge in this world. Mortal or immortal, few really ask. On the contrary, they try to wring from the unknown the answers they have already shaped in their own minds. To really ask is to open the door to the whirlwind. The answer may annihilate the question and the questioner. One who asks a lot of questions is often rewarded with a lot of answers, plus a lot more questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I do that every day. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It shows you have the courage to admit when you don't know something and to learn something new. And that comes from Barack Obama. If he wasn't afraid to ask questions. Joseph Joubert says, it is better to debate a question without settling it than to settle a question without debating it. And from my favorite philosopher, Albert Einstein, a question that sometimes drives me hazy, am I or are the others crazy? Yeah. I think that probably the most important thing about our education was that it taught us to question even those things we thought we knew. Question without boldness even the existence of God, because if there be one, he must more approve of the homage of reason than that of blindfolded fear. That's from Thomas Jefferson. Paul Tillich said, being religious means asking passionately the questions of the meaning of our existence and being willing to receive the answers even if the answers hurt. Bertrand Russell, in all my affairs, it's a healthy thing now and then to hang a question mark on the things I have long taken for granted. There's a unity teaching if ever I heard one. Every man ought to be inquisitive through every hour of his great adventure, down to the day when he shall no longer cast a shadow in the sun. For if he dies without a question in his heart, what excuse is there for his continuance? And Tennessee Williams said, life is an unanswered question, but let's still believe in the dignity and importance of the question. And from James Stevens, we get wise by asking questions, and even if these are not answered, we get wise, for a well-packed question carries its answer on its back as a snail carries its shell. I hope that's got your minds thinking, that you're thinking up some great questions as we go into another song. Oh, I always forget this one, don't we? Please repeat with me. The vision statement of Unity Worldwide Ministries, a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Now we'll have another song.
Feeling like I can't make a difference. I've been feeling like there ain't no use. Feeling tired and a little unconscious. Coming up with every kind of excuse till I realize it's not all up to me. When we join together, we shape our destiny. To see the world where we are living as one. It can be, it shall be, it will be. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are. No one else gonna make the changes. No savior gonna drop from the sky. Nothing left to do but wake up, 'cause it's really up to you and I to take it one step at a time. Stand together with your hand in mine. Then we will see the world that we've been dreaming about. We need it now, the time is now, there is no doubt. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that will make a difference. We are the ones who will change the world. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are. And I am the one. I am. And you are the ones. You are. And we are the ones. We are. And we are the ones.
Welcome, Mr. Thomas. Okay,
Spiritual improv.
here we go.
This is my vibe.
So just as the sign says, everything you always wanted to know, whether that's about Unity Worldwide, Unity Canada, Unity teachings, Unity principles, how to apply those in your life. Do you have a specific question how you'd like to have, whatever. Are you ready? You can
Hi,
direct your
Patricia.
question to either one of us or both. And Leslie is standing by on Facebook
And YouTube.
and YouTube.
And I've
I
also
didn't-
got YouTube up on my phone. Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that. Speak my word and things
We are
happen.
super tech. You can
See, that's
text
one
me
thing
if
you can
want.
ask me about. Okay. So is there a question in the house to start with? Ken has one.
Hold on. No, let me get over here. Ken, okay.
I was just curious how long before it became Unity Vancouver Island, how long was Unity Nanaimo being in Nanaimo?
I believe about 35 years. Sharon might know that best. Ken, probably you know.
Where's Iris? Yeah, Iris knows.
But Iris is not here, is she?
I have an answer.
Oh.
Valerie has an answer.
Yes, it all started with the kids that played in the school next door. Kathy Eliason's kids were in there, Kathy, and so were mine. And so we decided to get a little group of kids together. And so we had a storefront, you know where the hospice is? It was across the way. So we had the kids first, and the parents would stay in the cars, or somebody would bring coffee, and the parents would stay outside, and we'd have our little time. And then the parents would come inside, and we'd listen to Jack Boland tapes, Wayne Dyer tapes, and that sort of thing. We had Christmas show and whatnot, and that went on for about 9 months. And then I left for the States to go to school, and Kathy carried on and expanded it, and I would come back and visit to wherever it was. But that would have been 86.
Okay, thank you. But I believe it was even earlier than that when Brenda's mom, Kathy Schultz, and Olive Weber,
They were there.
and someone else used to meet. They used to meet in a house longer than, yeah. So a long time, 35, 40 years getting into that. Thank you.
That just makes me feel younger.
You weren't even born then.
Yeah. Thank you, Ken. Brenda has a question.
Okay.
So my question is, Unity seems to be, in my opinion, Christian-based. Curious, because it's so inclusive with other beliefs. Why does it remain just Christian-based?
Oh, what a good question. And of course, it varies from center to center. We have a lot of autonomy in Unity, and it reflects, I think, both the consciousness of the leader and of the congregation. So the vast majority of Unity centers are still located in the United States, and the headquarters is in Kansas City. So you have the Bible Belt of the United States. And when Unity developed, it was 1890 or so, everybody was Christian then, so to have sort of an alternative Christianity was a big, big step. If that were happening today, it might be quite different. But every center has their own attachment to how it's always been provided as a practical Christianity, as something different from mainstream Christianity. But every center really realizes how much that means to them. So there's a whole continuum, according to geography and consciousness and all that. And the one thing to point out is, for us, Christ does not mean the man Jesus. Christ is the spark of the divinity in each of us. So, there's so many ideas in the world today about what Christian means. So if it's comfortable for you in Unity to call yourself Christian, please do. If it's uncomfortable, please don't. And that's Unity. Anything you want to add to that?
Thank you. That was a great answer. I'll add that Charles and Myrtle, who founded, husband and wife who founded Unity, saw Jesus the man as the way shower, as the example, not the exception. And he was able to transform life on earth through his thinking, his ability to be with people, his ability to heal. And I've shared this recently, but recently I was reading scholars, because I'm in divinity school right now with Unity. I'm getting a great history. I actually just finished the history of Christianity and the quest for the historical Jesus this term. I actually have a paper due today that I'll go home and write after this class. However, my takeaway from that is Doug Crossan, I think it's Dominic Crossan, he wrote, if he were to boil Jesus' ministry down to 3 simple things, it is heal one another, break bread together, and build community. And that, to me, is the essence of what unity is, because it's practical Christianity, and because we will welcome anything that feeds humanity, anything that is healing, that is feeding, that is building community, is a welcome place inside of unity. And it stems, I believe it stems from that teaching. And then Charles, for those that don't know, I mean, he wrote, atom smashing power in the 1930s. He was thinking of quantum physics way before it became popular today. So he was really focused on the mindset and the prayer practice that Jesus had, that you learn through the scriptures. And so for him, that whole metaphysical approach to the Bible, it's kind of unity looks at it like we need a basis of which we land on, but from there, anything can be built out. And so Christianity, or that faith in the Christ consciousness, is the basis. Jesus is an example, not the exception. And so we aspire to take those teachings and live by them. Not the teachings of Christianity, not the Crusades, not the we must lead with the sword, not that idea.
I was just going to ask what has been the biggest challenge for unity as a whole during the pandemic?
To be honest, there's a lot going on at Unity Worldwide and Unity headquarters right now. There's restructuring and just constantly trying to, adapt. The same as it is for the individual centers. It is, on the macrocosm and the microcosm, it's the same challenges. So yeah, it's been tough. A lot of churches across the country have actually folded. A lot have sold their properties and downsized, and some are thriving. And so I guess worldwide and Unity Canada, the attempt has been, how do we support the ministries in going through this time? Unity Canada's 3 pillars, because I'm just back from the annual intention meeting of the new board of directors, and to support ministry development, to support education, and please, if you're just coming into Unity, or you've been here a long time and you walked in and said, hey, I want to be a Unity ministry, or I'd like to take some classes. We used to have classes all the time, and it was such great fellowship, but now it's all shifted to that there's a education coordinator across Canada who will put up all the classes that are being taught, and we can Zoom and make fellowship with people all across the country. So, and education, and the third one is providing connections, and that's conference and the book studies and things that we're, just trying to evolve new things all the time, running things up the flagpole, see what works, see what appeals to people, and do that. And so, of course, suggestions are always welcome, too. That kind of took you away from your Unity Worldwide, made it more local, but is that okay?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Thank you.
I can add to that.
Good.
So,
Why are we not surprised?
yeah. Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment, that I have such knowledge. Because I'm in classes every week, like 4 a week, and with students all over, mostly in America, I do get a sense of what's happening. I would say the biggest struggle that Unity churches, if that's your question, what is the biggest struggle for Unity, is donations. Is as people stopped showing up, donations stopped happening. And although people might be joining online, they weren't feeding the churches that they belong to. And I'm not saying that so that we get a rush of donations. I'm just letting you know that we've done a great, what has happened in this community, from what I hear going on in other communities, is a blessing. It's not the norm. It's been a struggle. A lot of the movements in the U.S. have divided people at Unity churches. And if you didn't stay fundamental Christian in some locations, people were out. There's been a real shift in how people are thinking and what they're looking to from their community or their church in their community, or what they thought they belonged to. The Me Too movement, all the movement about segregation and black people, all of that stuff in the States has really shifted what's happening at Unity churches from my perspective or from what I've seen in class. And I think we're blessed where we are. We have a fantastic community, and the movement to online is real, and it's going to happen to continue. And if we don't adopt to that here, then we're going to fall off into the abyss of nothingness. That's the reality, because people want their they can go anywhere in the world now and get a service. They don't need to come here. It's great that we have people here in person, but many people are starting to say, hey, you know what, I don't even have to leave the house on Sunday morning, or I don't even have to go on Sunday. I can go Thursday night to a service. When do I want my spirituality? When I want it, not when it's being delivered, right? So that's probably the biggest challenge we face going forward.
And the other side of that is we seem to be on the upside. I mean, sure, you can go online and watch something from California or London anytime you want. On the other hand, people from California and London can and do watch us. And so we need to keep that up, you know? As well as make opportunities for you lovely folks to come and get hugs. Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah. Anything? Nobody's sending anything to Leslie. Yes, Antonio.
I have a few. Should I?
Antonia has a few.
One at a time, or all of them? One at a time, or all of them all together?
How many are there?
3.
Okay, 3. Try 3, and we'll see if we forget any. But say them 3, and then we'll work through it.
Okay, number 1. What is Unity's view of the Bible? Is it divine revelation? Number 2, what is the view on baptism? Is there a view on baptism? Number 3, is there a view on the Holy Trinity? Does that exist in Unity?
Great questions.
So the Bible, the Unity's view on the Bible, and this goes way back to Charles Fillmore, the Bible is a valuable teaching tool as allegory and metaphor. It is not to be taken literally. And this is why Charles Fillmore wrote the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. And in that, it's a big book, and you can borrow one from the library in here. And it has every name of every person and every place in the Bible, as well as many other words like angels. Angels, think of those as thoughts, you know, and so on. But every place and person name is interpreted to mean something. So when you put that, for instance, when it comes to the Christmas story, Joseph is wisdom and Mary is purity or something. When you join wisdom and purity together, those kind of things. So the Bible, again, because they came from the Bible Belt, you couldn't not have the Bible, but it was reinterpreted. As far as baptism, again, there's no official stand. Sometimes we call it naming ceremony. Like a wedding, it can be tailored to the sensibilities and the expectations of the people requesting the service. For instance, definitely Unity, we do not believe in being born in sin and being saved from anything. A naming ceremony or a birth celebration is about celebrating the purity and the innocence and the potential and the Christ spark in the individual. Do you want to take a whack at Trinity?
So yes, Charles, again, Unity has its roots. Its roots in in Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, and Charles interpreted the Holy Trinity as mind, idea, expression. So instead of God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, it was mind, idea, expression. So we have divine mind, we have divine ideas, and then we express them into the world. Was his, I'm sorry? Manifestation. Yeah, manifestation. So which goes along with our 5 principles, right? So principle 1 is God is. Principle 2 is I am. Principle 3 is I think. Principle 4 is I affirm, affirmative prayer. Principle 5 is I act, right? I've shortened those down. They're much longer, but essentially that's the teaching of Unity, and it's based on that idea of divine mind, that there's all of these ideas flowing around. We all have access to that source. There's nobody here that doesn't have access to that source. It's kind of like when you think about where do ideas come from? I don't know. I have no idea. When I'm in meditation and I all of a sudden I've got to do this, I have no idea where that came from except that divinity, that spark inside of me. And so that is the flow of the Holy Trinity. And I just wanted to touch, on I think it's really important for baptism to understand that it is about a celebration of that spark, right? That innocence. It's not about removing anything from somebody. Yeah.
Hi, Sister Susan. That's my sister. So, Nico, did you have a question?
I've been trying to formulate in my mind. I don't think it'll come out right, but I'll try. It's sort of a two-part thing. So when it comes to, I'm just hearing the conversation here, when it comes to social contract, social responsibility, is there a national stance on sort of the social the responsibilities of the community at large to serve in protection or in solidarity with different sort of social movements and practices, or is there no national necessary policy, but do you have personal policies for yourselves and in the board and in your sort of the higher ups of this community? Because I know, and I'll just tailor that, or I'll amend that with a statement that it seems to me quite clear that there is an effort across the board to do that, by everyone involved in the community. I'm just wondering if that's personal effort just because you're all such wonderful people, or if there's actually some sort of principled plan or dialogue or discussion on that on a higher echelon.
Yeah, unity has always been about inclusion. And there are things in Unity's history where, in the 50s, they would discriminate against students studying. They had to live separately. People of color had to live separately on the grounds. And they have discovered the error of that. And Unity periodically issues statements on, what is the DEI? Diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And so there's quite a long statement that they issued, and we talked about that on conference. And one of the things that Unity Canada, we talked about at our weekend, is we want to Canadianize that and make it just feel a little bit more like our own. So we're working on that. But again, there's autonomy, and a lot of some of the old churches still call themselves churches, and they've been established for 100 years or more. They're all about... They do good, and that means like volunteering at the food bank, that kind of thing. But it's more about looking after themselves and each other. And I think there's, in the movement worldwide, and sparked by centers like us, there's a movement to move out into the community and take proactive action, as it were. Yeah. Thomas?
Yeah, on our board, to just clarify that, we're very conscious. Everybody here at Unity seems to be conscious of the community and our work in the world. And I know on our board, we speak about this all the time, even for where are we going to take our tithes? How are we going to tithe? Because as a board, we tithe on 10% of everything that comes into Unity. We tithe into the community. And so how are we going to do that? Where are we going to put our money? And that, I think, if I were to speak for everyone, it comes from a philosophy of, where I put my money matters, right? Like it's extremely important that we are stewards of what comes in to Unity here, and how do we best serve, first of all, our membership, because as a society, part of the Society Act is everything we do must benefit our members. It can't benefit me or Patricia or somebody specifically. It has to benefit the membership first. And then from there, we think, okay, well, how do we impact the community? And I would say that a lot of that comes from this leadership right here as well. Patricia leads by example. The work we've done with the Indigenous community here in Nanaimo has grown because of Patricia's desire to make that a reality and speak about it and confront our past as settlers on this land. That has been a flagship. Peace has been a flagship for Patricia as well, in my understanding of this community. So a lot of it comes from the desire within the community itself. And then I'll also, for those that don't know, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were vegetarians. They believed that the hurting of animals was wrong for us to hurt anything that was a living creature. They didn't judge people on it, but that's how they lived. They couldn't come to terms with hurting any of God's creatures, so to speak. And I haven't, delved into all of their philosophy around that. I just know that from some of the readings I've had. So there is within Unity a foundation of taking care of what we have. Like, if we're not all taking care of what we have, it's going to disappear. That's just the reality.
It just came to my mind that there's a story, I'm not sure how true it is, that Charles Filmer, as a young was born on or near, very near St. Cloud Reservation, and was recognized as a very spiritually in tune infant, and was borrowed overnight by the local indigenous people, and possibly trained in something. I don't know if that's true or not, but Leslie says there's a question coming in.
There's a couple. The first one on YouTube is, can I come next week? And what is needed in the community?
Yes, you can come. I'm not sure I understand that question.
What is needed in this community?
In our Unity community? More people volunteering, taking more active part. I mean, there are a few volunteers that have stepped up magnificently and continue to do so. And as we start to come back together, there's just things. If we want to have coffee together, we have to have people make the coffee. We had a wonderful craft fair last week, made connections with all sorts of people in the community, said, we should do this again. We should do this monthly. We should invite the local farmers and the local winery and the local beekeeper and the horticulture center across the road, all come together once a month and have a market and da-da-da-da-da-da. Isn't that a good idea? Good. Who's going to do it? So yeah, just discover the opportunities to serve and come help us out. I hope that answers that.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
So what I see also needed in the community is more prayer, more opportunity to pray together, I think would be welcome. I really come down to the principle of, and I just discovered this, but it speaks to me so loudly, heal one another. Whatever that looks like. It might be just going for a walk. It might be picking up the phone and calling somebody, especially with all of the time we've had where people are alone right now, especially coming out of this pandemic. How many people have been forced to be alone, and what that has done to their psyche? Picking up the phone and talking to people, sending people a card, whatever that is, I see healing one another, not as in healing the physical body, like, oh, I broke my arm, I need healing. But what about what's going on up here for people? What about their mental state? What about how they feel about themselves? What about how they think they show up in the world? How can we support one another on that level of making sure we all are winning at life, not losing at life because we feel like we're somehow less than another human? That, to me, is what I see most in conversations that I have in my regular work, is people feel that sense of lack, not just financially, but that sense of lack, somehow that they lack something. So if we could heal that, and that comes from breaking bread together, so the idea of when you sit down and have a meal with someone, isn't it completely different when you get to know them than just being on a Zoom call or a telephone? Breaking bread together, building community, that, I believe, is what we need more of.
Yes, I agree.
Question.
Okay.
I'll go to the back here.
It's a YouTube question.
Thank you. This one's a tough one. I've asked it, I guess, before, but I still don't really quite get it. There's sort of this understanding that we've chosen our own families, or that we've, again, that, some of the atrocities in the world, some of the horrors in the world, that somehow there's a purpose, a point. I don't know if you could just sort of touch on how to rectify that. I still have a really hard time coming to terms with how we transform that darkness.
Yeah. And that's something that, will we ever
And so do I.
have an answer to that, until we move on to a higher plane? A lot of people have theories. Many of them may be true. What I notice whenever there is something horrible happens, it It tends to move us to a higher place. It brings out the good in us. We start to realize how important it is to serve one another, and that sometimes is the only time we do that. So in a way, that's good. I'm not sure that, I think on some level we do possibly, our higher self knows why we're here and in this situation. And I don't know how much choice we had in that, but I do know that we always have the choice to how we respond to any of it. And that's what unity is about, really. That's the only place we can, for sure, tackle that question, that no matter what's happening, as Viktor Frankl said, the only thing they cannot take away from me is my ability to choose how I will respond. Anything more?
I'll need your help on this, but when we were doing the metaphysics class, we talked about this in some capacity on the idea that there's, when things go bad, if we were to look at World War II, the Nazis, right? A consciousness began and it grew from there. And so we have this ability in the idea of divine mind, we have this ability to be thinkers of any particular way. And it could be a very wrong path or it could be a very lighted path. However, in the world of duality, we want to place it as good or bad, as opposed to it's just what's happening. And even if you think in terms of, when I think back to doing the landmark form and some of the Buddhist teachings, it's being with what is. And so I'm finding more and more, I want to remove labels. I want to get away from even labeling Christianity. It's like, I don't even want to have that label. I just want to get it down to what are, here it goes, heal one another, break bread together, build community. Like if that could be my simplest form of life going forward, that's life enough for me. I don't need all the rest of the theories and stuff that goes with that. And with that comes how we think, how we perceive the world. So, you're a mirror to me. What my judgment is of you is really something for me to look at, right, etc. I think last question.
Yeah, we're getting close on time. Okay. There's 2 questions online, so maybe we can.
Can you hold one second? I don't know if that answered for you. It's a great question, and I don't know. We could workshop it though, maybe.
Okay, 2 questions online. It seems unity comes to many as mature people. How are we attracting leaders today? And the last question is, according to unity, what does being spiritual awake look like and feel like?
So the first one, yes, seems like most people, when they start studying seriously to be an LUT or a minister, are in their 50s. And they don't know why that is, except, we're so influenced by the banality of the world out there that it takes us a while to get to realize what's really important, that spirituality is more important than getting a good job and making a lot of money. I don't know how much that contributes to it. We're always looking for people to come in and get all excited when they're 21 and saying, how do I do this? So that by the time they're 28, they can be a minister and be, so I'm looking at a young person right now. You just never know, But that seems to be the way. There's a certain readiness, because this teaching requires us to take responsibility for ourselves, to take mastery, and there's not too many in the people in the world that are ready for that.
I have some in classes with me. And they, in most cases, though, they were raised in unity. Their parents went to unity, and now, for them, unity has been a part of their life since birth, which is not the case for me. Right? And the reason I wear like this in T-shirts is to try to look hip and cool. That's really what I've given up the suits and things, because at school they actually expect me to show up to do a talk for classes in a tie and a collared shirt, and I'm like, no, that is so not me. I just want to play drums and rock out. Like, why? That's so for a school, I actually show up the way they want me to, so I can get, I was given some coaching. Do what they ask, then do what you're here to do. So that's how that kind of goes.
Cool school. Was what does spiritual awake look and feel like?
Is there an according to unity?
I don't know. A world powerfully transformed by the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening.
Well, why don't we define spiritual awakening?
Well, awakening, you open your eyes to something new.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say, for me, spiritual awakening is noticing. Noticing how I'm acting, who I'm being in the world, how I show up, how other people might perceive me. That, to me, is an awakening. Mm-hmm. If you go through life having no clue your impact in the world, you're not awake. Whereas if you actually wake up to the fact of, oh, wait a second, I could influence people in a certain way. I could show up and be joyful in a room, or I could be as miserable as I'd like to be when I walk. No, seriously though, but at least if you're aware, if you have the consciousness to know, wow, today I really showed up and delivered, or today I was a disaster, the way I treated people, that's awakening to me. And then the next question is the action, what are you gonna do about it? Right, so you could be awake and do nothing. You could at least know, hey, I'm a jerk and I'm okay with that,
yeah.
Right? Like you could be that, or you could be, you know what, I'm a jerk and I don't want to be that anymore. So now I'm gonna work on myself and take that a noticing and move it into a new noticing.
And of course, the spiritual awakening is knowing that you're not the physical being that just does those things, that you are in fact a spiritual being that enables you, that enervates you and activates you as a physical being. Yeah? And they're all connected.
Yeah.
But being a jerk and being okay with that, that's okay? That's like... just wondering if I have to shoot better.
As long as you just let people know, like, hey, I know I'm a jerk, but I'm okay with it. Cool. At least they know where you stand.
Public service announcement. Yeah, I'll get a t-shirt. I know. ...
Leslie advises us that our time is up. Would you like to do this again sometime soon? All right, thank you. I think what we do now is we have a song from Valerie and Brian.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your great questions.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for the answers.
I can feel his mighty power and the grace. I can feel the touch of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Spirit is in this place.
Now.
Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Patricia, for your wisdom. Appreciate it. I invite everyone to join me for a few moments. And I invite you to know that what you needed to hear, you've heard. What you'll take away from today's conversation is exactly for you. There's no right way to do this. There's no wrong way to do this. So I invite you to take a few moments with me, noticing your breath and that foundation of awakening, of just noticing. And you can begin by noticing exactly where you are right now. Breathing in and breathing out. I invite you to slowly bring yourself to this room, back to the room you're located in, wherever you are. And I'll allow Nico to play us into his solo at his leisure. Namaste.
Announcements. Thomas and I are going to alternate today. Thomas, you first.
That'll make them shorter.
Zoom Fellowship Circle right after service today. It's on your screen. No, please join us for the Fellowship Circle right after Sunday. So what are we going to do today? Are we both going to be on?
Sure, if we can. We
Okay.
can continue with questions.
All right, sure. Okay, great. Meeting ID is on the screen, the passcode, or go to the newsletter and just click on the slide and it'll take you there.
The link. Okay. And good morning, Unity Comox Valley. They're watching us today. Yay. That was quick. Your turn.
Wow. Unity Vancouver Island in Victoria will be doing a prayer circle Monday, November 22nd, 2 to 3
tomorrow,
p.m.
isn't it?
How about that? That's tomorrow, at the First Metropolitan Church, room 200. See, I said more prayer, and
There it is.
see,
There it
it's
is.
right there. It showed up on the screen.
And our board game night was highly successful, ladies, I understand, ladies and gentlemen. Someone said to me, we haven't laughed this much in years. So we're doing it again, and maybe every Friday. So Friday at 7 o'clock, lots of games to choose from. Bring the family. This is an all-ages event. Have fun. This is building community. Did you say something about building community?
I did, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. You are invited to a community meeting hosted by Reverend Vicky. That'll be Tuesday, December 7th at 7 p.m. So everybody in the Unity community can come online and ask about what is happening at Unity. Of course, I know you're all wanting to know, how can I serve more at Unity Vancouver Island? What more can I bring to the table? This is a great opportunity, though, to check in and see what has, since we've come together as a community, what has transpired, where are we headed, that sort of conversation. So join us for that.
Okay, so our gratitude this week goes to our craft fair team. We brought in about $1,200, I believe, so that was a profitable day. So thank you for those who donated things and for those who served and just showed up and said, can I sit at the table for a little while? And those who, Brenda, those who stayed to clean, and those who came and bought stuff. Thank you all. It was a very good success. So great gratitude.
And we continue to thank you for your financial support and any volunteer time that you put in. We are, as I mentioned earlier, we are such a blessed community. And if you are feeling right now that you're in a place to donate financially, you can do it at donations@unityvancouverisland.com. And yes, it feeds the community. And I would say that our board are great stewards of the financial abundance that comes in to Unity, and we thank you for your continued support.
Indeed, we do. And I believe, following our abundance and affirmation, that Valerie and Brian have a brand new song about giving for us. So please repeat the affirmation with me. The infinite and eternal supply of all good things awaits my acceptance. Knowing my worthiness, I accept, use, share, and release, trusting that I am always abundantly provided for, and so it is.
Well, I didn't hear it, so I started to doubt you. You couldn't feel it, so you just lost your way. We'll never find it if we don't get it out there. It's not love till you give it away. It's not a treasure you keep buried within you. And it's not a bankroll to save up for a rainy day. It's not a lifeboat you keep, don't use till you're sinking. It's not love till you give it away. Give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away. Just give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away.
Just let it go.
Make peace your mission, and it won't heal till you hear what you need to say. It's gonna take faith, 'cause it's such a contradiction. It's not love till you give it away. Give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away. Just give it away. Give it away. It's not love till you give it away.
Bouncing. The children are coming.
Yes, the children are coming. The children are coming.
I don't know. I'm making it up.
I like it.
Awesome. I love it. Oh, we see the divine light shining in you, children. We love and appreciate you exactly the way you are.
Heck yes.
And our prayer for protection. The light that is God surrounds me. I am one with the light. The love that is God enfolds me. I am one with the love. The power that is God protects me. I am one with the power. The presence that is God watches over me. I am one with the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Amen. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with love as our center. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And Dawn is here for the prayer room if anyone needs to be or would like to be with Dawn for one-on-one prayer.